Alumni Stadium has desperately needed renovations, and it looks like the staff at BC are finally listening to your pleas.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black. I'm also the editor and publisher of Eagle Insider. This is Locked On BC, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as playoffs wind down. The sport stops sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone daily. Just visit FanDuel.com to get yourself started. So, you folks have been waiting. Alumni Stadium has just basically been in a holding pattern ever since I've been alive, it feels like. I feel like it, other than maybe a new board or a thing here or there, they haven't changed much. Well, by an email went out to season ticket holders this week. I want to get into what's on that email, why you as BC fans should be excited, what's going to possibly other rumors that are going on, and what might still need to be done, and get some bad news on recruiting. I'm always a guy that's glass half full, but there's some stuff that we still need to talk about. We'll do that in segment number 3. So let's kick this off. Now, if you are a season ticket holder, you would have received in the email, I think it's season ticket holders, a survey for renovation potential at Boston College. Now, Blake James sent this email out from his staff, and it says things that they are looking at potentially and to get feedback on what people like. And for folks out there that have been Boston College season ticket holders, you've sat in those cold benches having gross hot dogs, sesame seed pretzels. Hey, they actually have beer now, which I guess is a positive, but things haven't really changed all that much. When you look at what other schools are building, when you look at some of the other stadiums, I look at TCU. TCU, I know some friends that have gone down there, has an amazing stadium. You look at what they did at Alabama, in Sanford Stadium at Georgia. BC wants to get to that next level. And they're going to have to, because there's other schools that are kind of like peer schools that are rebuilding or adjusting their stadiums. Look at what Northwestern is doing right now. They are building a pristine, beautiful new stadium as they welcome in the new era of the Big Ten. BC's got to figure out something, and this is a great first step. Now, what is this going to include? What are the potential things they're going to include? Okay, this is not what they're saying they're going to do, but they're looking at it. And so in this email, I want to give credit to a Twitter account, Pat Crafts Burner. You'll see his name on all these tweets. I screenshotted them. I'm not a season ticket holder because I'm a media member and I go to all the games anyways. Why spend money on that? But he had it, and he put them all up so you can see what they look like. Now, this is the sample Chairbacks. This is something I think everyone's been waiting for. So the simplest thing first. Chairbacks. How long have we been complaining about getting backs to chairs? Because it seemingly has been, like you sit there and you have someone's knees in your back, you have no leg room, you can't lean back at all. Seat backs are going to be so great. Now, if you're on YouTube right now, on our YouTube channel, you can see with pictures of what they are looking at. They have 3 different chairback seat experiences. Now, they're not telling you who's going to get the chairbacks and who's not, but they're looking at it. And that's an upgrade right now, I think, from, I believe it's only specific season ticket holders around like the 50-yard line that get those seat backs. So hopefully they're thinking about more. Hopefully they'll get rid of the gymnasium steel bleachers, because I don't think anyone out there likes those things. That was the first thing that came up. Then it got more and more luxurious as you go along. They start looking at the club seat experience. And this is where I started looking, and I was like, wow, that's some nice stuff. Better looking seats, fan experiences, club lounge experiences. Can you imagine that? Going to a BC football game in a lounge? Like I go to the Woo Sox. They've got the Polar Club. You go to the Fenway, there's the Yawkey Club. There's every big stadium. The Pats, I went to the BC game at the Pats game at Gillette Stadium. They had a club experience. And I go back to that all the time when I talk to friends about one of the most fun experiences I've had at a college football game was that game at Gillette Stadium, because you got to go to that. It was so cool. Now, I imagine that this kind of experience is going to be pricey, And for most of us that aren't, in the business world, may not get to experience, but it's still a cool thing to have. And when there's events on campus, it's right there for you now. You can do it on campus. It's a cool thing to have. So that's the clubs. Now, why is that important? If you're just Joe Blow who goes to a BC football game and you're not spending tons of money on donations, why is this important? You have to look at the bigger picture here, folks. Even if it doesn't impact you directly, it will, because they're going to, this is specifically, and the pictures that follow are made to generate revenue. And with that revenue, they can put it back into the school. They can put it back into the football program. They can put it back into all the other experiences that need upgrades. They can pay more for Bill O'Brien. They can pay more for his staff. They can make BC more competitive with more money. They need to do that. That's part one. Part two is, yes, it might take away from some seats that, maybe you go to, but it's going to bring in bigger ticket people that are going to want to do this as an experience. Like if you own a business, right? A big business, and you like to take out clients for an experience. Are you really going to take them? Have you ever, I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but the alumni boxes or the corporate boxes at alumni are, they're like sitting in my basement right now. They're like white walls with some BC paraphernalia, and you get like a few things here and there. It is not special at all. If I was a business person, I would never do that. This is changing how that looks. This is changing how corporate people might see BC and put more money into it, and to buy these boxes and to give more money. Then again, it all pays it forward to even you who may just end up sitting a little further back because you can't afford it. Now, additionally, they have the ledge seat experience. Now, this is cool. This is like, I think this one looks specifically like they're thinking of re-looking at how they're building the Alumni Stadium seats. So this would be it looks like it's around the 50-yard line based on their map. But again, it has long lounges, it has seats, it has a new look to it. The piece with this, I would say, in addition to everything I had already said, is it's starting to give Alumni Stadium some character. How long have we been waiting for this stadium to have like something that makes it different than other stadiums? Because right now, other than that little corner that has the uniforms on it, the retired numbers, there isn't anything special about alumni at all. It's about, like, if you were going to go on NCAA football 25 and make a generic stadium for a team, and that's like the starter stadium that you get, alumni would fit that bill. There's nothing special to it at all. So adding ledge seats, adding new club seats, it's going to start to add to it. And then finally, loge box. Yeah, again, this is getting rid of the box seats that they have. And I love that they have some outdoor options too, because, I think I believe right now it's a window that opens up, but who wants to go to a game and just be stuck inside? If it's nicer out, like it is for many of the earlier games, this gives you an opportunity to sit outside. Very cool. Now, these are just the luxury stuff. Even the seat backs. If you're sitting in section UU up in the top, you're probably not going to get seat backs. And I get that, right? Like, I think most people can understand, like, if you're buying the nosebleeds, you're probably going to get aluminum benches. But there's no reason that lower bowl shouldn't be all seats and luxury stuff too. So this is all good starts. And for the structure of what they're looking at here, which is generating revenue and probably improving the look and feel of Alumni Stadium. Now, this is all, again, just they're taking a gauge. They're dipping their finger in the water to see what fans and donors are going to think about this. Blake James is making that thought. And at the end of the day, I've seen people complaining about how the survey looks and all that stuff, and that's fine. I mean, there's people out there that this is their job and they don't like how it looks. I get it, right? They're doing something. How long have we been waiting for someone to renovate Alumni Stadium? And nothing has ever been done. We sat through Martin Jarman and his, what was it, the nutrition station. We've had practice facilities added here and there by different ADs. But the big white whale, the Alumni Stadium, is finally being looked at. And I think that is a big deal. Now, in our second segment, there's more stuff that goes along with this, with a big BC person who seems to know a lot, who's leaking some more things that could be coming up. I'll explain what those are in just a moment. Sports. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down and baseball hits that dreaded all-star break, we get fewer games. And what am I supposed to do with all my time? Talk to my family? Nah. And the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So you're thinking, you're watching that all-star game. You know there's going to be prop bets for the home run derby. There's going to be tons of them. FanDuel's going to have it all covered. They're going to have, what's going to be the amount of home runs in the game. It's up on FanDuel. Check it out. So FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. This is Locked On BC, AJ Black. There was one other picture that Pat Kraft Burner had up, which was the field level suites. And again, look at the pictures. It adjusts and changes how you look at it. Now, there's been buzz, too, that goes along with these different upgrades that they're looking at about other things. I think it was BC Bob, saying that Bill O'Brien's goal is to get Alumni Stadium up to 50,000 fans. That's what he says. I don't know. I've never heard Bill O'Brien say that. Now, just that thought in general. We talk about that mind frame. There's also the other opposing view that the city of Newton has capped BC at 44.5 thousand. I don't know the truth of any of that. And I'm not digging into legal documents to find that out. We'll have to wait and see how that adjusts. That's not the point. The increase in attendance is not what I'm getting into here. I'm looking at improvements in the game day experience. So I don't really care if they get to 50,000, but that's not the point. Now, BC Bob on Twitter, I think he goes by BC Bob too. If you follow him, I don't know who this dude is, but he has been dead on with a lot of stuff. Now, when Blake James about a month ago teased out a big announcement for BC Sports. BC Bob this is probably going to be the announcement about things changing about Alumni Stadium with game day experience. I think a lot of BC fans were very disappointed within the next 24 hours when a new swim coach, Dana Torres, was named. I know that's a big deal. She's an Olympic, and I just think people had their expectations way too high. And then when it was a swim coach, rightfully so, they got disappointed. But yesterday, BC Bob tweeted out, this is what I thought was going to be happening. And it was in reference to the email. Now, he talked about all those things and how Bergenajarian and Bill O'Brien and Blake James have really driven the train on getting this stuff done. Bergenajarian is the guy that was with the Patriots, who's now he is like the special assistant to Bill O'Brien. So he gives a lot of credit to him, and maybe that's the case. We don't know. But the one piece I wanted to bring up had nothing to do with any of the things that we just talked about. It was a new area. And when you're talking about game day experience, being in the stadium obviously is a big thing. But the part B of the issue with BC is all the stuff before and after the game. For many people, they can't tailgate because they're priced out because it's ridiculous. For other people, the tailgating itself isn't it's not as great as you'd like it to be. So it looks like BC, according to BC Bob, again, this is what he's saying. Take it with a grain of salt. He's saying that they're looking at the idea for a Yawkey Way or Canal Street at BC, around where the Beacon Street end of the stadium is. It would start right after the entrances to the garage and go all the way down to the Conti Circle. That area would be all people only. It would be open for 2 hours ahead of kickoff. There would be food courts, beer stands, activity for children. The band would play a concert, have speakers. They'd rework the Eagle Walk plus other things. He says, Burge and Blake getting it done. So if you're a Red Sox fan, you know what Yawkey Way is. It's got, entertainment, and food, and drinks. It's closed off to traffic, so it's like a special area. This would solve a ton of the pregame issues for people. What better play? People have been looking, and they've done a decent job in the last couple of years. I've seen beer trucks and bands playing out in the area that used to that used to be the Plex, but it's still kind of not there. A specialized area that is focused on entertainment and pregame fun would be such a game changer. So if you're bringing your family, many of us, me included, right? Before I was doing the media stuff, I gave up my season tickets because my tailgating spot because everyone my age had kids and they couldn't afford to go to 6 games or B they just didn't have the time to do it. So for many of us, it was like going to a game here or there. But missing the tailgate, you miss all the camaraderie and the fun of being with your BC brethren and sisters, right? Now you could do that. Text your friend. We're going to go there. We're going to let our kids use the jump house or bounce house. We're going to get some beers and eat some food. We'll be there 2 hours before. Where do you go? Go to Beacon Street. It's open to everybody. How awesome would that be? Again, this is BC Bob. I'm not sure this will happen, but it makes a lot of sense. You go there before the game. I always end up parking in Comm Ave now because of media stuff. But I remember I used to have a Beacon Street spot. That area down by County Circle, by Conti Forum, it's always dead. There's nothing going on there. Why not utilize it? Make it part of the experience again. Like use the band. The band, I'm going to say this again. The band is not being used the way that they should be. I hate that they have to replace them with a DJ who plays the same stupid stuff. And I sound like an old man. I get it. But I'm just going to say, I'm going to die on this hill. The band needs to be used more. And so if that's pregame entertainment as well, get them out there. They bust their butts to provide entertainment, and I don't think the school utilizes them enough. So get them out there. Do that. That's great. Get food out there. Before a game, if you're not on a tailgate, what are you doing for food? You're going to wait to get inside and get those gross hot dogs and sesame seed pretzels. Get out there. Maybe have food trucks. Maybe have other, whatever it is. This is cool. This is another forward thinking. They're getting stuff done. And these are all everything sounds like it's in planning stages. This could be, this is something like if they get the permits and get it going, they could do it this year. Who knows? But everything else sounds like it's all in the planning stages, but it's all exciting stuff. Like, again, this program, they hired the right coach who got the money to bring in the right staff. Now they're addressing the next part, which is the game day experience for fans. So they have no excuse not to be there to support them. This is important things for the future of Boston College football, especially with things changing in the world as it is today in the college world. Now, in our final segment, I'm going to hit the brakes on all this excitement, talk about BC losing out on a big commitment that they did not get. I'll explain who that is and talk about that in just a moment. Locked on Boston College, AJ Black. Now, I have been crowing about recruiting. And if you have been over to Eagle Insider, you've gotten all the scoops, all the details about everything going on with BC football. And right now, 50% off for an annual subscription gets you in for an entire year. The whole season covered, recruiting covered, transfer portal next year covered. Got you covered for the price of a cup of coffee a month. Get on over there right now. Now, before I get into this last segment, I also want to talk about Locked On Red Sox. Gabby, who's the host of the Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Nation, is amazing. If you're into the Red Sox, and right now they're an exciting team to follow, check out Locked On Red Sox on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, as I said, I was starting this off a little fast before I got into my stuff I needed to say. That BC football, I've been crowing about how good the recruiting has been and how they've landed, they had 22 commitments right now. But I had cautioned that last week by saying there's 2 positions that they missed out on that they still need to work on: offensive line and edge rushers. Well, on Wednesday night, Kuol Kuol of Ohio, who had taken official visits to BC and Purdue and had just received an offer from Michigan State, which honestly, I thought if BC was going to lose, I was going to be to Michigan State. Well, he committed to Purdue. So the big board for offensive line is basically gone. It's now on to reevaluating guys. I don't like to say it's plan B because there might be new tape There might be, camps that they've seen guys at. There might be intel that they're getting. It's not always just plan B. It kind of feels like that, but AJ, you're sugarcoating it. Okay, whatever. But the big board of guys that they have are gone. They've landed 2. I was hoping, I think for size wise, you'd want to get like 3 or 4. They're not there yet. Is this another disappointing year for offensive linemen? So far, yeah. But it's still, I want to say it's still early. Okay. There's a lot of people on Twitter and my boards that are really on Matt Applebaum for the issues with recruiting right now. But, they just came in 4 months ago. I know he's been there for a while, but the offensive staff, you have a new offensive coordinator and a new offensive head coach. Things are going to take a little while. If they can get the excitement going, I still think that there's a potential that BC could end up flipping guys. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. So what I'm saying here is it's not in a good spot right now, but I still think there's potential that things could turn around here. And I'm interested to see, for the people that are on Matt Applebaum, his offensive line was awesome last year. He's had good offensive lines in years past. He's going to have a challenge this year. Let's see what he does. This is the year that they really were bad was Dave DeGuglielmo and partially Jeff Hafley's fault for not helping him. This year he's got new guys in there, but he's got talent. So let's see how Applebaum and that offensive staff address the needs of the offensive line going into this year. And maybe it's portal. Maybe that's the change here. Maybe they end up going portaling. Who knows? But also, how do they perform? Because they got a lot of new faces out there. A couple new, not a lot, but a couple new faces and some younger guys out there. But it's still going to be a position to watch for, and one I can understand the gnashing of teeth a little bit, but I want to see more before I I go scorched earth because I don't think it's there yet. So we'll be back again tomorrow. We're going to preview Marcus Upton, who's going to be making his decision on July 12th. I'll explain what's going for the Eagles. We'll talk about that one. We'll talk about everything else going on in BC, the world of BC sports. You're going to get it here at Locked On BC, your team every day. Now, make sure you follow us along. And if you have not, I keep mentioning this, but I really want to make sure you guys have checked it out. Check out the Locked On 24/7 stream. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day that brings you the best, biggest stories without all the screaming. I love getting it's like a nice digestible amount of news that you can get when you want to. Like, and maybe you're working at home and you have the TV going. Instead of listening to some of those guys just yelling and screaming at each other, turn on Locked On Sports. It's free on Amazon Fire TV apps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Again, follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. Follow my work at Eagle Insider here at Locked On BC. And I'll see you all again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.